Hey, my name's Jess. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be showing you my process for dog portraiture. As you can see, I'm still in the beginning stages with this portrait. Off to the right hand side, you can see my watercolor palette and the tray that I use to mix up my colors. Before I jump into a painting, I like to mix up the main colors in the portrait. To mix up the colors, I go back and forth between adding more water and adding more pigment to the pool of paint until I get the perfect color. When mixing watercolors, you're mixing ratios of water and pigment. The more pigment you add into water, the more saturated the colors. By adding in more water, you're lightening the value of the color. I typically keep a little testing sheet of watercolor paper off to the side. This way I can test out a color before I apply it directly into the portrait. Another way I test colors on portraits is just by adding the color into the darkest area of the portrait. With the lighting in this portrait, the tuft of hair on his ear that I'm working on right now is the darkest area, so that's kind of where I'm starting to test out my colors and trying to gauge if I need to add more pigment and darken my color. To make the portrait really crisp, I'm working with a wet on dry method, which means I'm using wet paint on top of already dried layers of watercolor. With this method, I'm able to create really crisp strokes of watercolor paint without letting them bleed into each other. So as you'll see throughout this video, I tend to bounce around the portrait a lot. By jumping around in the portrait, I can let certain areas dry and revisit them later with additional layers. In this painting, I'm working with a round-tipped brush. Ultimately, I think it just comes down to your preference as an artist and the types of marks that you make in your paintings. For me, in most of my work, I tend to work with these round brushes. I find them to be really versatile. When you press down with a round-tipped brush, it fans out and can cover large swatches of area in a painting, which is really helpful for quickly adding a base layer to paintings. But then I can also add nice detail work with the tip of the round brush to create crisp, clean lines. Watercolor can be a really challenging medium, even if you have a background in art making. So don't aim for perfect, just aim to make progress. Comparing yourself to other artists will not help you grow. Only practice can do that. Thanks so much for stopping by to paint with me. I know pet portraiture can be especially challenging, so I hope you found this helpful in seeing how I work through it. I look forward to sharing my experiences and strategies as a freelance artist and art educator on this channel. So it'd really mean a lot if you'd like, subscribe, and leave a comment if there's any questions or any methods and materials you'd like me to try out in another video. I'll see you in the next video. Happy creating!